It's time.
Good bloody evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's the King of the Couch, back in your ear holes for another week of the King of the Couch podcast. I'm your host, Aaron L. Thompson, and I'm back, baby. Solo episode tonight, and I'm really fucking looking forward to it. It was 2 episodes since my last episode. We had the inaugural episode of Balls and All with Jared the Wizard Sukjai. Go and check that out if you're a footy fan and a UFC fan, frankly. A lot of sport action in that one. And then we did Volume 3 of the King Smith podcast last week. So I'd hoped to maybe do the solo show. That my intention was never to replace the solo show with King Smith or Balls and All or any of these other ones that I'm doing. It's just finding that bit extra time to just jam all these episodes in. I've really only got 1, maybe 2 nights dedicated to the show, which is never enough. It's never enough for the punters. It's never enough for me. But I need to find some more time because I miss the solo episodes, frankly, and I get a lot of feedback about the solo episodes, and I think you missed the solo episodes. So I'm back, and I'm excited for it. I'm sitting here in my man cave, KTC HQ. We've got the video on, we've got the mic on, we've got the fan on, we've got the flannel on. I've also got a new hat on. I have just got this for myself, but I'll give you a little close-up of it here. King of the Couch podcast with a little beer in one hand, a little mic in the other hand. So this was this design I had left over from, if anyone's been listening to the show for a while and saw my last merch drop, which is probably going back like nearly a year now. It's fucking ages ago, it feels like, but it feels like it was just yesterday. This was a design I had left over and never run, so I thought, oh fuck it, I love trucker hats at the moment, and I'll put it on a trucker hat. So if anyone digs this cap, truckers, anyone, not even truckers, frankly, I'm not a trucker, but I've got a lot of love for the truckies. I'll happily get one made for you. I'll probably do a little public post about it soon, but I've just been, as you can hear, it's still a little bit phlegmy. It's disgusting. I'm snorting and carrying on like an absolute beast on my own show, but it's my own show, so it's the only place I can do it really, and not get yelled at it, and yelled at for it. So fuck it, whatever. But I'm back. So if you do want a hat, let me know, and I'll fucking hit you up with some costs and things like that. But I'll probably do a bit of a public one soon. Little beerio tonight. Cheers, motherfuckers. People who are going, is that non-alcoholic or alcoholic? It's a non-alcoholic one tonight. Shout out non-alcoholic beers. They're pretty good. We'll get to the beer in a second. I want to talk about alcohol for 2 secs, but housekeeping. I forgot to do this last few weeks, but look, subscribe to the show if you're not already subscribing on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, wherever. Drop me a little review if you can, a little 5-star flick of the wrist, whatever the fuck it is. The biggest thing you could do though is pay it forward. If you like what you hear on tonight's show or any show, clip it up, put it on audio, put the audio or the video on Instagram, tag me in it, send it to a loved one, send it to an enemy, I don't care, just fucking send it somewhere and let people know, you know what I mean? I like talking and I like you listening, and frankly I like you talking back. All the messages you give me through the week keep me very warm on the inside, keep my heart feeling really, really good. So I really, really respect that you do that. But we're here tonight. It's KTC, King of the Couch, baby. Episode 134, 9:15 p.m. on a Monday night, 28th of March, 2022. Let's fucking go. Wow, can't believe it. Saying those dates. 2022, it feels like a weird year. We've got a lot to cover tonight. Alcohol. I want to talk about alcohol first. I've been pretty good on the sauce. I talk about it. I don't know if everybody that listens to the weekly show listens to the King Smith show, but I sort of talk about it at length on last week's show why I was so crook. I had a thing called cytomegalovirus. I'm not going to go through the story again, but go and check out last week's pod if you want to hear the breakdown of it. But yeah, really fucked me up, frankly. And I'm almost 100%. I'd say I'm sitting at like 90 to 95%. That's how I feel physically. Mentally, I was a bit up and down, frankly. And not in a good way. Actually, I don't even know if I was up and down. I was very straight line fever there for a while. I haven't been drinking. The doctor said, look, don't drink. And then we got the blood test results and he said, well, it's okay to have like one, don't have seconds and thirds, and don't binge drink and stuff like that. Any fan of the bottle knows that it's hard to just stop at one, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I had a little quote there I was going to say and I've just totally lost it. You know what I mean? One's too many, 12's never enough. There you go. Quote me on that. My uncle says that all the time. So yeah, that's kind of the mentality, but I really like the taste of beer and stuff like that. Yeah, you might go, fuck Tommy, you got a problem here. And I'm like, yeah, well maybe I do, but I still like the fucking taste of it. You know what I mean? I know plenty of people that drink Coke and I think you got a fucking problem with it, but I don't tell you that. So keep it to yourself, all right? Or don't, let me know. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. I don't take offense to it. But Yeah, the non-alcoholics have been good, but it's been weird because I'm like, all right, last week I was like, after the potty, I had a non-alcoholic beer on the potty with Smitty, and I'm like, I was fine through the week, didn't have any alcohol through the week. I had Friday night rolls around. I went to help a mate with one thing. He was kind enough to give me one can of beer, and it was just like as soon as it hit the lips, I was just like, oh. Like it tasted so fucking good. I could have had another 12 of them, no worries. But I thought, no, I've got Arabella here. Obviously, I'm not a fucking deadbeat dad, and I've got to get home too. So I've got to stay under the legal limit, and the fact that I'm not a deadbeat dad more so. So we went home, and I just had non-alcoholic beers in the fridge. We had a friend come around on the Friday night for some fish tacos and just a good old chinwag. Great girl, actually. It was good to talk to her. One of Beck's good friends. So it was just real good, honest Friday night. Good chats, a couple of non-alcoholics. She had a couple of seltzers. Beck's pregnant, so she had a couple of sodas. Just a good one. But I was really craving alcohol. Then we got to Saturday. I'll go through my weekend, but it's been funny without the alcohol, you know what I mean? I've been like kind of on this straight line where I'm just like, I don't want to say I'm up and energetic, and I don't want to say I'm like low and depressed. I found myself just all last week just being like quite fatigued come like nighttime, you know what I mean? The sun would start going down. I was trying to get out and do a bit of physical stuff with Arabella through the week, and I was just like, while it was good and it was fun, to get out with her, I was just a bit physically drained after, kicking the AFL ball. The next day, fuck me dead. This little pink ball here, a very masculine ball that I got my daughter, I was kicking the shit out of it the other day. And oh my fucking God, my quads, my shin muscles, I don't even know if they have a name, they probably do, I don't know, the top of my feet, I was fucked, hey, like I was just like, what the fuck, I was just really, really feeling it, like just a real out of shape dude, and I realised that I was quite fatigued. Every night last week, we put on that show, The Sinner. Wanted to watch season 4, so did Beck, and it was a good one. Shout out Sinner. It was a good show. We've got a couple of movie reviews tonight as well, and as well as a bit of an album review. Frankly, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. But yeah, it was a good show. But you get overzealous with the Netflix show, and you want to binge it. You kind of treat it like fucking alcohol. That's you're like, oh fuck, one's not enough. Put on another episode. Give me another beer. We're gonna fucking keep charging here. Mate, no issues on the first one. As soon as that second one would go on, I was asleep. Just like fucking every night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Fuck me dead. But anyway, we'll talk about my weekend. But I was just saying, I've been feeling a bit funny without the alcohol. I'm feeling better in a lot of ways, but like also like down in other ways. I was really stressed today. I had this work thing on. I was really stressed today all day, and I thought, fuck, maybe I'm a bit depressed because like I haven't had many drinks on the weekend. I like, there's little things I'm having to like let go of, you know what I mean? And it's all like, not just because it was doctor's orders and I was sick, but there was things I'm trying to angle towards anyway, like just not drinking as much as I was. Last week's show, I honestly, I looked like death warmed up. I had all these pimples and stuff like that. Tonight's show, I'm feeling like I look a lot better. Maybe the lighting's better, but this camera's better than the Zoom camera. The hair's looking pretty good. I've got this whole long hair thing going. I've got the flannel out tonight because it was a bit chilly. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good with the trucker hat. But go and watch last week's episode. I look like I was on death's door. This week, the colour's back in my cheeks. I'm looking a lot better. I feel less fat too, which is good. The rosacea was sort of coming. My liver took a beating with this cytomegalovirus, and my nose sort of flared up a bit, you know what I mean? Rosacea, no good, but whatever. It's my cross to bear, and I'll bear it like a man. I'm just gonna have a quick drink because I'm fucking thirsty, So yeah, anyway, it's been weird without the alcohol. I've been craving a little bit, not in an alcoholic way, but there's certain things I just tie to it where I'm like, I love having a drink and sitting on the couch and maybe like watching like live music or something like that. The non-alcoholics are good, and shout out Heineken for producing a fucking really good non-alcoholic beer because frankly it just tastes like the Heinekens, and so I really, really like the taste of Heineken, and it's good to know I can get the taste. But there's something about the correlation between like alcohol and just wanting more and non-alcohol and just like you're okay to pull up stumps after like 2 or 3. I think the most non-alcoholic beers I've ever had in one sitting was 4 non-alcoholic beers, and that was probably still over a long time. So like I'm going through like anywhere from 1 to maybe 3 at home, and like that's enough. I bought like 12 of them on like Friday afternoon, and I've got 1 left. That's because we still went out and we did some stuff, you know what I mean? There was some footy on and stuff like that. But I'm feeling like I'm just getting bloated after like at the third one. I'm just like, oh, I don't really need this. This is just habitual right now. And in my head, I'm going, at some point, like one of these has got to be spiked and I'm going to get a buzz, but no buzz. Just lovely flavour. And evidently a lot of burps, actually. Need to do a live belch, actually. It's been a while since I've belched on the show, but rocketing along here, just talking. Episode 134. This is the solo host. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. I'm going to talk about my weekend first, of course, as we always do. A bit of sport action in there, a bit of social action in there, a bit of fucking family action in there. The Oscars, wow, the slap heard around the world. We've got to talk about that, of course. Talk about Taylor Hawkins. Very, very sad. Got you some fucking movie reviews in here. I've got an album review in here. Got a little bit of kind of somewhat of punchable offense, but like, I don't know, it might be inciting violence in this one. So it's not really a punchable offense, it's just more of like an observation. I think it's really funny and kind of annoys me. I've got a note here about World War III, don't know what it's about, and expenses and stuff like that. This is the show. You should see what I'm seeing right now. But yeah, we had a good weekend. As I said, we had a friend come over on Friday night. Really good. I had a fucking pretty nice time with her. She's a nice girl, so the vibe was good. Chats were good. The fish tacos were great. Beck and I, after we finally got to sit down on our own, we did put on a movie. We watched a movie called Target Number One. I rated it. It was a true story, and it had Josh Hartnett in it, and it had I haven't seen him in ages. I feel like he was like the it dude there for like years, and then he just fucking left Hollywood. I mean, probably had good reason for it, because I don't think it was because he was a shitty actor or anything like that. But yeah, he left and just fucked off for like some time, and now he's back, and he was pretty good in it. He was fucking believable in this guy. It was basically, story was a guy was wrongfully, well, I said wrongfully, he was like tricked into like importing heroin from Thailand to Canada, maybe I'm going to say. I love that you get tricked into doing that. You know you're a shady individual anyway if you get tricked into like smuggling drugs. And this guy was like once a drug addict and stuff like that. So you sort of felt bad for him. He just had like a real shitty kind of thing going on in his life. And he got in with this guy who was a bit of a cunt. And then he just, did a cuntish thing and fucked him over sort of thing. And had it all set up so he was sort of wiping his own fucking ass clean. And he was going to pin it on this young dude. And he did. But yeah, good movie. I won't ruin it for you. Target Number One, it's called. It's on Netflix. Dug it, like the way the story was told, bad guy's a prick, good guy, it was a good story. But yeah, Friday night was, that was it. As I said, I was pretty tired because there's no alcohol business. I'm just like, oh God, 10 o'clock, like put me to bed. So I go to bed and then fucking dick about on my phone for a while. And then of course you go to sleep. Saturday, Super Saturday was a good one. I don't think I've got to mention this yet, but we're taking little AB to ballet at the moment. Very fun. She's probably done, I'd say, 3 times now. We're doing it fortnightly. Fucking adds up, hey, $15 every Saturday. I probably sound like the biggest tight ass right now, but like $15 every Saturday. And then you've got the fucking swimming lessons on the Tuesday. We're gonna take her to Sea Life for her birthday. There's fucking tickets galore for that. And then there's just like the presents for her birthday soon, this, that. Man, it adds up having kids, you know what I mean? Not to mention that every other single expense in the world has just multiplied by 10 all of a sudden. And we're expected to keep up with it, but fucking whatever. But yeah, ballet it's become a fun thing for me. I actually really rate ballet. So she's got a cool little outfit, so that's like half the fun, you know what I mean? She puts her hair up and stuff because that's ballet hair. You got to put your hair up. That's how we trick her into it. But yeah, it's awesome. These kids, like, they come in there and they just have no fucking idea, and they just like run around, and they've got like mats on the floor, like little fucking, you sit here and you stay there kind of mats. But Arabella's pretty good at it, and some of the other kids just have no fucking idea. They don't care. Others just don't want to move. Others are just right on the ball. But it's fun. They all have a good time. You know what I mean? There's the parents around the outside. I love seeing the parents too. Like, I'm initially one of those guys that like, I love to judge a book by its cover, but then I'm kind of like, I'm a soft soul as well. Like, I like to get to know the man. I like to hear the story behind that man or that woman. So they're all good people in my book. That's what I'm getting at. But yeah, there's all just different types. Mum and dad, some older, some younger. It's all over the shops with mum and dads. Hey, like, and kids. You're just like, well, there's all these like 2 and 3 and 4 year olds in here, and you look fucking like ancient. You look really young. And then what's your situation? What's going on here? I'm just real fucking nosy Parker with it all. But really fun. So that was like the second last one. We got our last lesson this Saturday, I think. So yeah, I'm excited. Actually, I'm not one of those dads that sits on the sideline. You know what I mean? There's a lot of dads there that I've seen that just sort of come in and they sort of just flex real hard and think they're all that. But I like to show my real core, my real hardness by getting up and doing the ballet with them. You know what I mean? There's nothing tougher than holding your little girl's hand in the ballet class. When she needs a hand held, you're there to do it. You're the toughest man in the room at that point. The dads that are sitting there hanging back, relying on the mums, mate, you're not tough. You're not as tough as KATC, right? I'm there holding hands. You're on your tippy toes as well if you need to be. You're doing this sort of stuff. I don't know what the moves are called. You're a tough motherfucker if you're out there holding your daughter's hands. So shout out to the guys out there holding their daughter's hands and fucking, making them go hard. We're raising strong women, right? That's not to say the Beck doesn't get involved too. She does. She's just heavily pregnant at the moment, so it sort of takes a bit out of her, you know what I mean? But Saturday was good. It was a perler day for the weather too. I feel like it's been so long since we've had a sunny Saturday with the family, but it was a sunny Saturday with the family. From ballet straight to the beach, we packed it. We thought ahead. It was premeditated beach trip, this one. But it was awesome. Yeah, just rocked up at Kings Beach, fucking got some coffees, unreal from Arenda. They're shutting down, so I'm really gutted about that. It just hit me the other day, and I was really gutted about that. You know when you just find a place that you really dig? It's got the best coffees in town, and they've got to shut down because some fucking dickhead developers have bought the land, and you're going to put up more fucking generic units. Like, we need fucking more units in a tourist destination, you know what I mean? So I'm really gutted that they're closing down. I was just like, fuck, it hit me the other day. I'm like, fuck, they've got like a month left and they have the best coffee in town. And Beck and I were literally running through, like, what are we going to do for coffee? You know what I mean? Like, there's this joint, we like that, but you know, there's this and there's pros and cons. This had like a shitload of pros, right? Rarely, I don't even think there was any cons. That's rare in this day and age. But yeah, beach time on Saturday, that was awesome. I had a great time. Didn't even fucking slip, slop, slap. It was that nice sort of weather. I could get a little bit of glow on too because I was so pale. I thought, I can run the gauntlet without some sunscreen too, you know what I mean? Just hit me up with the fucking vitamin D. Straight into me. Fucking intravenous. Did that. Arabella fell asleep in the car. Beck got home. And I was teeing up. The lads. I was really keen to catch up with some people. So I got a mate. He's become a mate. Old Jimmy Stewart, but he was more of an acquaintance from back in the day. This is the second time we caught up. And then Jackson, the world famous KTC designer who's done this hat and all my last round of merch. He was just randomly in town, and he's like, we're always trying to catch up. You know what I mean? He did a little design for me recently. He didn't charge me anything. He's like, man, and I'm like, look, I've got to get you some beers or something. You know what I mean? When someone doesn't take any money, it's really one of those things. You're like, oh fuck, I've got to give you something, you know what I mean? So I teed up to see James in the new Pocket, which was really cool. Wanted to see the Pocket, Moffat Beach. You haven't checked it out. Had Esther Newman on many moons ago, the owner of the Pocket. But yeah, it's a Moffat Beach landmark. They've just renovated, and I was keen as fuck to see it, right? So Jimmy Stewart, he's in town. I'm gonna meet at the Pocket. I'm literally on the toilet, because that's what we're doing. We have our phones in the toilet, us men. I'm on the toilet, fucking 10 minutes before I'm walking out the door. Jackson goes, hey mate, I'm at the Pocket. I'm in town for like 3 weeks. What are you doing? Come have a beer. I was like, you're kidding me. I was like, I'm literally going to be there in 10 minutes. So it worked out to be this like beautiful three-way bromance, actually. I was going to go there with Jimmy Stewart. Jackson texted me, the two J's. I was literally A and two J's on the side. And I walked in, I was like, mate, I owe you a beer, you know what I mean? Got him a pint of Larry. I said, James, let me get you a pint of Larry too, because I'm not going to buy this guy one and not you one. That would be a bit of a dick move, right? But yeah, I felt really good. I haven't been on the sauce for quite some time. It's been ages since I feel like I've been to a fucking pub. Two blokes who were like, that I don't know them that well, and I get excited about that because I'm like, there's oodles of conversation to have because we fucking don't really know a lot about each other, so we can talk about so much stuff. Man, I had a schooner heavy, 2 schooners of mid, and I was feeling pretty fucking good. I got to be honest, I was in the zone, looking at the beach. It's a pearl a day. Jackson's having a great time. Jimmy's having a great time. I'm having a fucking great time. The vibe was all time. It was sick. Like, oh, I live for the vibe, you know what I mean? And the vibe was well and truly delivered. I didn't even look at my phone. That's how good it was. I was like, I'm not even interested in this fucking dickhead phone, you know what I mean? And I'm just focused for like 3 hours at the pub. Beck's going, hey, like, this is our situation. Like, when are you coming home? I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's right. I've got a family. Fuck, I better get home. So I said, look, boys, going to pack it in soon. Sorry, I have to love you and leave it. But it was great. It was like, fuck, can we tee this up again? Actually, it was so great. I'm going to cheers to it with a non-alcoholic beer. Cheers, guys. So, yeah. Went home and we teed up a little dinner date with our good friends Jamie and Jared, the Wizard Sukjai. So we don't just have a professional relationship, it's a personal relationship as well. So we went round. It was great. We cooked a little bit of a Greek feast, I guess. Well, there was a salad. I don't want to say Greek. There was some tzatziki there. There was a lot of different types of meats. None of them, frankly, were really that Greek. There was meatballs, no Greek flavouring. But we're going to call it a Greek feast anyway. It was fucking delicious, frankly. But we went around there. It was just good vibe, good people. Met some new people as well. They're little kids. So that was awesome. Again, super excited there was new people coming. I was like, oh, I can talk. You know what I mean? I can talk with the best of them. I'm going to tell all my stories. I'm going to tell all my jokes. I was having a good time. I was just feeling fucking good. And maybe it was the 3 schooners I was still rolling on, but like I had the taste, frankly. I bought 4 non-alcoholic beers. I was like, well, there's some footy on. I know Jared's going to watch it, because we are the host of the Balls and All podcast. So we're doing research at this point. So I'm like, look, I'll have one of these. Jared's not much of a drinker, but sure enough, he had a couple of the Suntory vodka soda lemon things in the fridge. No, I've never had one. I remember moons ago, Matty G, famous for being on the King of the Couch podcast and running Hakuba Snow Tours in Japan. Check him out. He told me about these things when they're getting imported, and I was like, fuck, all right. And I never really drink vodka. Fuck me dead. I'm a fan of the old Suntories. It was so dangerous. It was like having a watered down solo, but I was like, this is fucking delicious, and it's 1.6 standard drinks. I could have another 10 of these, no worries. I actually, be honest, I felt refreshed. I'm thinking, how many of these have I got to drink to not feel refreshed? Because that first one, super refreshing. So yeah, shout out Suntory and the free drinks, Jamie and Jared. We had a good night. Fuck, it wasn't that great though, because the footy was shit. Storm lost who I'd tipped. The Titans lost who I'd tipped. Equally shit. They were 20 points ahead, eh? Titans are just fucking useless when it comes to getting 20 points ahead. They're like, oh, we're 20 points ahead. Now you guys win. Storm, good game. Could have gone either way, but yeah, it didn't go the way I tipped, which I was pissed off about. But great to see the Parramatta Eels get up in that way. It was a great win for them. And then we just went home. Like, what are we going to do? Watch the final episode of The Sinner. We're on the second last episode. And then, of course, naturally, my Stone Cold Stunner fell asleep in the second episode. But Beck was on the same train that night. She fell asleep too. Thought, turn it off. We'll save it for a fucking rainy day, being Sunday. Now we're at Sunday, officially. Weather's turned to shit. Wasn't too bad, but it was a rainy day yesterday. I have AB most Sundays now because Beck's working most Sundays. Actually, she's just about to fucking finish up and go on maternity leave. I can't believe it. I'm so like... I'm one of those guys that's in denial about having a second kid, and that's not to say like I don't want a second kid. Everything's moving so fast that I forget that Beck's pregnant, and then I run into her and I'm like, oh my god, you're very heavily pregnant right now, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm gonna be a dad of 2 in fucking 5 weeks, and I'm thinking, oh my god, you know what I mean? It's just like a constant train of oh my gods. But yeah, I get to spend most Sundays with AB, and it's cool, it's like, you never know what, I sort of just wing it and go last minute, depending on the weather. If it's good weather, we go to the beach, do some outdoor shit. If it's shit weather, we do some indoor shit. But yeah, dropped back to work, drove home. Of course, I was going to the beach, but the weather turned to piss. So come straight back home, made some brekkie for myself. Arabella had already eaten, but gave us some little snacks and bits and pieces. Doing what we do. It was raining, so we sort of had a bit of a movie on. We're playing and carrying on inside. And I was like, look, if this weather fucking fares up, we're going to the park, you know what I mean? Park's always fun, right? So we went down to the park when it did fare up, took my dog down there. She had a pearl of time. Hey, parks on a Sunday, like good parks on a Sunday, are just absolutely mobbed with kids and parents, hey? There's just mums and dads everywhere, and fuck, there was like kids as far as the eye can see, all different types of parents, eh? Again, I love the people watching thing, you've got the sort of the straight-laced parents, you've got the ones that wear like funny footwear, you've got the ones that wear no footwear, clearly hippies and stuff like that. I met this hippie woman there, she was cool. You've got the mums that are just like super decked out in the active wear, just is fucking skin tight, so like, it's sucking right in. You got the dads that are just overweight, the tank tops, the fucking reef sandals and things like that. Watched the guy come down the slide, he busted the Havana sandals, he was fucking furious. I had footwear on. I never really wear open-toed footwear, so, more for him, right? What I'm getting at here is a great day. And that's what we did. Frankie had a little spew on the way home. I think he's getting a bit old, you know what I mean? I know dogs can live a long time, especially dash hounds, but man, he was cooked. I think the heat took it out of him. It wasn't sunny, but it was humid. Don't know why I thought I'd share that with her. I just did. Came home. Broncos were playing at 3. Arabella had a nap just on kickoff. Don't you love that? Fucking the footy gods are on my side there. She's like, I'm going to get out for a nap. I thought, well, I'll get an hour in here before I have to go and get back. Mate, what a waste of time that was. Broncos absolutely shit the bed. Worst game they've played all year. And I tipped them again. So I was equally fucked off because I tipped them. But it's even worse when the team you follow shit the bed and you've tipped them. So yeah, wasn't happy about that. The Cowboys are like their Achilles heel, but we won't talk about footy here tonight because we'll talk about balls and all. Right? I'm that guy. I've got like an umbrella. I've got like a link tree full of just different podcast episodes. Check it out in a few weeks. We'll be back actually in probably about 3-4 weeks. We'll be back for balls and all that too for the footy fans that listen to this. But yeah, fucked off. Went and picked back up, and that was it. Picked up a little pork roast last night. Some potatoes, sweet potato, pumpkin, roasted onion. I love roasted onion. And that was it. And we sort of fucked up on the pork shoulder. Hey, anyone out there that's cooked pork shoulder, this was, I thought, unusually pink for pork shoulder. And we cooked it like well over ample amount of time, I thought. And it just was like not getting not getting not pinker. It was getting browner. I wish it was getting browner, but it wasn't. Don't know what I'm trying to say here, but I just thought it was one of us or the whole family was going to be going down to the toilet last night with food poisoning. But fucking touch wood, it must have been sweet. And we were all good. And then Beck and I sat there and watched the series finale of The Sinner season 4, which is really fucking good. I won't ruin it, but yeah, a good season to go out on. And we were just smashing Shapes nacho cheese. Actually, that concludes my weekend chat. Thank you. I'm going to close the chapter of that and then we're going to get on with the rest of the show. I will say, though, shout out Shapes for inventing nacho cheese chips, because for so many years I've been just rocking the barbecue and rocking the pizza gun. This is the standard, right? This has really set the bar. There was a special the other week, nacho cheese. I picked up a box of nacho cheese and a box of pizza, right? I thought, all right, we'll try this. Man, oh my God, Shapes have just absolutely knocked it out of the park with nacho cheese. I don't know how many years I've missed out on nacho cheese, but fuck me dead. They are deadly. I said, Bet, you gotta try one of these. Hey, she was just like, this is the same. She was just like, oh my God. It's like she found gold or something like that. She was just like, what is in this? And we were just like crack addicts, you know what I mean? Like a bird to a bird feeder, just fucking. We honestly, we punished a box in the first 10 minutes of this show last night. There's one sitting downstairs. The more I think about it, the more I'm salivating around the mouth to like run through this, edit it up, and go downstairs like a fucking maniac at night, crack addict, sit there on the couch eating nacho cheese chips. I will say, if I get this show done tonight, you'll find me on the couch eating nacho cheese chips by midnight tonight. And I'm not even fucking mad about that. I'm not. I'll say that. That's a problem. But whatever, I'm going to say it. Got a mad sweet tooth lately. I've had a mad sweet tooth lately. Chocolate top digestives and a cherry ripe last night with a box of things. That's my problem when I don't drink. That's another thing I will say. When I don't drink alcohol, the junk food intake goes up. And like the healthy food intake has gone up too. I've been making some rockin' salads. I'm sort of like, pardon me, talking to a guy the other day and he was mentioning the Mediterranean diet, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. You know what I mean? I'm a bit of a fucking fad guy sometimes, so I'll jump on board here. Not really a fad, isn't it? Because the Mediterraneans have been eating like that forever. But yeah, I've just started putting olives and artichokes and oily bits of things in my salads, and all of a sudden I'm Mediterranean too, and I'm just the weight's just melting off me, of course. But because I've eaten so healthy, I counteract it with a box of Shapes, half a bag of digestives, and any other fucking bit of sweet, bad processed sugar I can get my fucking hands on. So yeah, that's my thing. But anyway, thought I'd share that with you. But here we are. It's a new week, a new day, a new dawn. Sounds like a fucking shitty movie title. Just one drink, then we'll get into the next bit of the show, eh? I start to lose my little throat, I'm episode 134 in it. I'm a professional, but you can't fuck with your throat. It's just a thing. Pardon me. Big sad news this week. Taylor Hawkins, the drummer of the Foo Fighters, has passed away, died. I was really actually sad about this one. And Beck texted me. This is the text that I got when I was at the Pocket on the weekend, and she was like, Taylor Hawkins has died because she really likes the Foo Fighters too. It was just one of those things. I was just like, funnily enough, I was thinking about this tonight. My brain, obviously, you can't tell, but like it goes and goes and goes, and I'm always thinking about things, right? I was sitting in bed the other night, and I must have been, that's what it was. I was driving the car. I wasn't sitting in bed at all. I was driving the car, belch, how good's Heineken, and I'd heard the new side project from Taylor Hawkins, Dave Navarro, and Chris Chaney, NHC, and I was listening to the song, and I didn't mind it actually, and I was thinking, wow, Dave fucking Grohl, Jesus Christ, slow down, cunt. Taylor Hawkins, I was thinking, fuck, wonder what he's like, how he's going. He's a really skinny person. I don't know why I was thinking about this. I was thinking about losing weight, and I'm thinking, fuck, he's really skinny. He's like 50, you know what I mean? He's older than me, and I'm like, how does he stay so thin? Is it the cigarettes? Is this, that? And I knew years ago that he'd like overdosed on heroin, right? And I was like, maybe he's still on the drugs. I was like, I wonder if these guys are on drugs, like being on tour and having a family. Like he had a wife and 3 kids, right? I'm thinking, do they functionally do drugs and stuff like that? I'm like, I'm sure they drink. Everyone drinks, cigarettes, like they're no good, but a lot of people still do that. I'm like, can you recreationally do heroin and things like that? Like, I don't know. I don't really know. Well, I don't think I know anyone. Didn't think fucking Taylor did either. But yeah, what I'm getting at here is like, I thought about that. And then sure enough, like the next day, Beck's like, he's died. And I was like, what the fuck? Because I was just literally looking at buying Foo Fighters tickets last week, which I was like, this is insane. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was just like proper sad about it. Hey, I was just like, I've mentioned it so many times in the show. When someone dies, you just like, you feel like you owe them something. Like, so I'm like looking at all his music. I went on this bit of a Foo Fighters bender. I'm watching their last concert, the Lollapalooza Argentina concert that he did, and I think that was evidently the last show that he played. And he of course did his Queen covers and things like that he normally does. But man, I was just like, fuck, like 50, it's so young. And then turns out like later on that he's actually like got like 10 different drugs in his system, weed, antidepressants, opioids and things like that. And I was just like, fucking hell, you know what I mean? And at that point I was like, some people get a bit like high and mighty. They're like, oh, these people do drugs and drink so much alcohol and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, they're killing themselves. Like, oh, it's their fault. They should just stop it. But it's not that easy, you know what I mean? If you've got like proper like issues with like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that, like you have like that addictive bone in your body that like just keeps you coming back for more for whatever reason. I don't know. No one actually knows like the definition of like why people get like addicted to certain things. There's probably many different things that people keep coming back to it for. But yeah, it was just one of those things where you just like, you feel bad for him, you know what I mean? He's like in probably the biggest rock band in the world. They fucking touring all the time, doing albums. They just had released a movie. Looks super fun to be in the band and stuff like that. Like, he's well respected by everybody, loved by a lot of people. Wife, 3 kids, like, fuck, it just looks like he has it all sorted. And he's like, fucking 10 different drugs in your system. And like, when you're doing that sort of stuff, it's like, yeah, man, have you got a bit of a death wish, you know what I mean? And it's just like, whoops, got a bit of a thing here, sorry. Has he got a bit of a death wish or something like that? So yeah, but either way, look, just like really, really sad about it, you know what I mean? I thought, fuck, I love music so much. Some of these musicians you just follow and you're just so into them. And then, like I was saying a few episodes ago, like when music, like live music wasn't doing anything in the pandemic, you always think, oh yeah, it'll be here, like that band will come back around. Now I'll never get to see Foo Fighters with Taylor Hawkins in it. I'll never get to see Taylor Hawkins again. I think I'd actually seen Taylor Hawkins 2009 when I was at the Download Festival. I saw Taylor Hawkins and his band, the Coattail Riders, at that time, which is pretty cool. Really cool rock and roll band. He's big like 70s influence kind of musician, which is evident. He loves bands like Queen and stuff like that. So yeah, really like lucky I got to sort of see him, you know what I mean? And I like his solo albums that he did and this NHC project, which I don't think there's an album out yet. There might be. I know there's some singles and stuff, so I want to check that out. But yeah, just like one of those things, like I was just like, fuck, 2022, you dog, you know what I mean? I feel like so many people at that 50-year-old sort of age are just like passing away lately. I don't know if that's probably incredibly fucking vague and a broad statement. I understand that. But I just feel like every time I turn on something now, you're like, oh, such and such has died. You're just like, fucking hell. And they're not that old, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so look, that's sad. But who knows? I mean, I don't know what's going to... what's going to happen to the Foo Fighters now, whether they'll keep going on with another drummer or hang up the fucking band name and move on and do something else. Who knows? But yeah, it's sad. I feel bad for the band. I feel bad for his family and sort of everyone involved. So rest in power, Taylor Hawkins. This one's for you. All right. We had some stuff. We'll talk about the Oscar dilemma maybe later in the show. I've got a few things on here. I've got a note here about women and the duck face. I mean, that's not a new thing, but I feel like it's a real bad problem nowadays. I will say, right, and I'm a red hot blooded man, you know what I mean? I find women attractive. I've got nothing against the gays or anything like that. I'm all about it. I support them 110%. I love women though, right? And I love a lot of different women. I think a lot of women are beautiful in so many ways, right? But the one thing I just can't get my big fat head wrapped around is the duck face thing. The whole the lip thing, you know what I mean? I'm sure some people have had work done to actually get their lips to look like that. Then there's those other women that probably just actually force it to look like that for photos. And you see a lot of it nowadays, like where there's like just that, this is the phone, because this is my phone, but this is my pretend phone. And they're just, you know what I mean? The eyes are going, everything's going, and it's just like, you're so beautiful, and then you put on this stupid lip. It's like, there's people that just can't smile. It's like they can't smile, so they do the duck face thing. I must have seen something, because there's a few women I follow that like they do that, and I was just like, I've had enough. I'm writing a note and I'm talking about it on the show. But women that do that, I'll be honest, look, I don't think you need to do that. You're beautiful without it. You're ugly with it. So get rid of it because you're beautiful without it. I think you should stop doing that. Just smile naturally. It's way better. Some may say that's a big sexist comment and I shouldn't talk about that. But you know what? This is the king of the couch and I'll talk about whatever I want. But yeah, other notes here. I was going to do a bit on fucking expenses, actually, because it's going through the roof at the moment. I was actually sitting here thinking the other night that my rent went up like $30 a week, like nearly a year ago, right? And this is when things were starting to boom. And then we got that shitty excuse like, oh, it's to keep up with everything in the area and, oh, you know, interest rates for the owners and blah, 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 knowing full well that they bought this house like well before house prices went like stupid. And I was like having this, not a freak out. I'm sitting in bed the other night because that's where I do a lot of my thinking, or in the shower and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm just getting a little bit more money happening here, you know, but Beck's like just about to go on mat leave. And I'm thinking, what if they want to jam it up like another $30-40 a week? I'm like, that's a fucking dog move, but they can do that. That's kind of the world we live in right now where people are just going, fuck it. Instead of the 5 or 10, we'll go the 20, 30, 40. We'll just push it up. I know people around here that have been put up like $100 a week. Like that's a lot of coin, hey. Some people, frankly, don't even have $100 left at the week. They're just like, they got between the mortgage and the rent and the kids and the school and the fucking ballet and the swimming lessons and the food and the this and the that. You know what I mean? You've got a little bit of money left over for beer. And then people go have the audacity to go, oh yeah, but like I wouldn't see you give up the beer. It's like, well mate, I've fucking given up everything else. I've literally got a little piss fart amount of money. Let me do something fun with it for myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, I was thinking about expenses and I was like having this full freak out moment the other night. I'm like, what if they put my rent up like this? What am I going to do? Am I going to fucking fuck this? I'm out and go find something else because everything's just like through the roof at the moment. But between mortgages and like fucking rent going fucking bunta, food and drink is just like absolutely through the roof. You know what I mean? Like alcohol is just stupid expensive, I think, you know? And like I've been paying $13 a six pack for these non-alcoholic beers. And there's a part of me every time that goes, I'm paying for like non-alcoholic beers at $13 a pop. Like in my tight ass mind, I want them to be like $1 to $2 a bottle. You know what I mean? How's my math? That's probably nearly what I'm at. But I want it to be cheaper than $13. That's what I'm getting at. And I'm like, I'm not even getting a buzz out of this, you know? Like, I don't think like healthily like that. I think unhealthy. Like, I'm not getting a buzz out of this. And this is still somewhat expensive. But I'm just like, food is super expensive. I said to Beck yesterday, hey, like, I feel like a broccoli and cauliflower cheese bake for dinner and with some protein on the side, you know? And she's like, yeah, fuck, I feel like that too. I was like, all right, we're on here, eh? As I'm driving up to pick her, she's like, oh, look, I'm in Coles right now. And she's like, cauliflower's $10 and broccoli is $9. And I'm like, what? I'm like, when did cauliflower and broccoli become like gold, basically? Do you know what I mean? It honestly, it knocked me off my fucking chair, hey? I was just like, you can fucking jam the fucking broccoli and cauliflower bake. I'm not spending that much. I'm not taking out a mortgage to have a cauliflower bake. You know what I mean? Like the packet of cheese is like $8. Like that's like a $30 meal. And frankly, all I've done is put some fucking 2 bits of vegetables and some slop together. And you just want it because it's a Moorish dish. Like I don't know if there's anything really, really good about it. You know, and then add fucking insult to injury. I put a little protein on the side. God forbid I get a little bit of steak or something like that, you know, just to wash it down, that delicious cheese bake. I'm still hot on it, you know what I mean? Might have to resort to fucking shoplifting some cauliflower or something. I never would do that. I'd think about it, but I never would do that. But yeah, man, expenses. And then, of course, fuel, you know what I mean? It's just like daylight robbery. So I was just, I don't know why I wrote that note down. I must have been just like thinking about money and stuff like that. But there's a big part of me, and I was saying to a friend today, I was like, I wonder like these people, and I don't think I roll in a poor mindset. People might think differently, but like, I think I'm very like, okay, like welcoming money into my life. I'm doing more at work to get more money everywhere. I can sort of try to make a bit more money I can, you know, investing and stuff like that. You know, I could probably go a bit harder. Everyone can go harder, you know what I mean? You can go as fucking hard as you want and put yourself into an early grave, but I'm also a guy that likes to chill out and watch some movies and drink some beers, you know what I mean? Do a podcast. That's my prerogative. But I just like was saying to a mate, and he was like, man, I don't know how people like are actually like doing this and affording this and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't know too, because like if like the average home is like just like 1.4, 1.5 fucking $1 million now, it's just like, what's going on? Like how are people affording like $1,000 to $1,500 a week, like payments and stuff like that. I don't know. Is that a lot of money for people, or is that not a lot of money for people? You know what I mean? I'm paying close to like nearly $600 a week rent, right? And or maybe no, $555 a week rent, right? And I'm okay with that. I can afford that, right, on my own wage. And add in all the expenses and stuff like we're doing okay. We're not rich by any means, and we're not fucking like leaping forward in crazily. But I'm just like, how are people doing it? You know what I mean? I've got some really rich mates and stuff like that, so I know how they've done it, and that's a different thing. Like, more power to them. But like, how is the average person like working and doing it? You know what I mean? And still having a good life. So people must be just like breaking their fucking backs, or I've really underestimated like what people can actually like make money wise. You know what I mean? But man, I don't know. So I really hope that like people are going okay there financially and just fucking taking care of themselves, because I know it seems like it's getting really, really hard out there and stuff like that. Like, I'd like to buy a house, but like, and not because I want to buy a house as like, oh, I need investment and assets and shit like that. It's a real emotional thing for me. Like, I just want to buy a house, we get the family house set up, and we can start putting all the things in the house that we want, the pool, the entertaining area, all the things that we really dream about doing all the time. And that's what we want to do. But look, we'll get there eventually. But I just wanted to just air that, because I was having a little bit of a freak out recently too. Think, fuck me dead, everything's expensive. And I'm talking to some people and they're just like, mate, it's so expensive out there. You know what I mean? So for the listeners, the King's men, King's women, King's people, you know what I mean? However you identify, I don't care. I just hope you're doing good. Do you know what I mean? I hope it's one of those things. So anyway, we'll talk about that. I'm gonna end on the Oscars fucking debacle tonight, but I wanted to talk about some movies and a little album review. The album, we'll start with the album because it actually ties into the Foo Fighters, right? So we're just talking about Taylor Hawkins, unfortunately passing away. But Dream Widow. So basically, Dream Widow is like the metal alter ego of the Foo Fighters, right? And they've just released an album called Dream Widow. It's got about 8 tracks, right? Ranging from a minute and a half all the way up to 10.5 minutes. Actually, looking at the album, sort of builds up and up and up. It's fucking sick. I mean, it's got elements of just like your basic sort of metal, from the 70s, like that Black Sabbath style riffery. You've got elements of black metal. You've got elements of grindcore in there. Just some real heavy shit. Dave Grohl can just... I like the guy's voice, you know what I mean? He's just got a great singing voice. He's got a great screaming voice, but he's got a great fucking metal voice. Now, anyone that's been following Dave Grohl and all the Foo Fighters for some time would know that he did a side project years ago. I'm thinking like 20 years ago, probably, realistically. Maybe 15, 20 years ago. It was a while ago, called Probot. And on that album, he had like heaps of different artists on there that was different, so there was like Lemmy from Motorhead, there was like Max Cavalera from Sepultura, quite a few other metal people. It was a different person on every song. I actually read that out and thought it was really cool, The one with Lemmy was a bit more rock and roll, the one with Max was a bit more heavy metal. You can kind of picture it, right? But this album is basically the alter ego of the Foo Fighters in their new movie Studio 666, right? So apparently they go and stay at this haunted mansion because Dave's got writer's block. And they uncover this band that, I don't know, lived in the mansion or something. I haven't seen it. The trailer looks cool. I'm going to go see it at some point. Or watch it at home in the box office. I don't know. But yeah, he basically unearths this metal band called Dream Widow, which then possess him. And then it's like a kill rampage sort of thing. It's a horror comedy, right? Don't think too far into it, people. You know it's going to be fucking fun and gory. But coincidentally, the Foo Fighters got together and they recorded this 8-track album under the guy's Dream Widow. Now, I will say, as a metal fan, I didn't know if it was going to be like a bit of a piss take or whatnot. The album is actually a fucking quality metal album, right? It's so good. It starts with this track called Encino, which is a minute and a half, right? And it's just proper grindcore. Like, it's just really thrashes the ear holes. And I was like, all right, fucking here we go. They're setting the standard here. The single off this album was called March of the Insane, which was good. It had that real 70s sort of sound to me with like heavier vocals, almost like black metal vocals, but it reminded me of bands like sort of King Diamond, bit, Sabbathian parts and things like that. I would, always go as far to say like Judas Priest and things like that with that sort of black metal vocals, but it was really fucking cool. For me, the ones that are the sickest on the album, this song called Cold is good. It's a bit sort of still fast, but a little bit slower. The Sweet Abyss, that one is probably my favorite on the album. It's the sickest riff and it's just great. Go and check it out. Angel with Severed Wings. Check this out. Encino Cold, March of the Insane, The Sweet Abyss, Angel with Severed Wings. I mean, that's a classic metal album right there. Come All Ye Unfaithful. Dig it. Love it. Becoming and Lacrimus Die Ebrius. I don't know. That sounds like Latin or some shit. 10.5 minutes long. Man, love it. If you're a metal fan, I would go check it out. If you're a Foo Fighters fan that's not a metal fan, I would still go and check it out to see what your boys can do with metal. And it's one of those things, when I heard it, I was like, it's so crazy that that's the band that is singing like songs like Wheels and fucking some of those other soft songs they did. I know they did like a whole acoustic album. They're just so eclectic. I love musicians like that. I love when you can find a band that can do like, we're doing fucking basic, awesome radio rock with Foo Fighters. Like I love the Foo Fighters, right? But there's certain songs that God, that's just a basic radio rock song. Like I can't dig it. But for the most part, I like a lot of their shit. You know what I mean? Like that song "Best of You" by the Foo Fighters. I just never really got the big deal about it. Like I just can't get into that song. Every other song on that album, I love. I just can't get into that song. I thought it was the most boring song on the album. But then I go and hear this sort of shit, and I'm like, yeah, this is why I love Dave and the boys. You know what I mean? This is exactly what they're fucking made to do. Just fucking bash your ear hole shit. Yeah, look, 8, 9, 10 out of 10 even for this. It was a mad metal album. 8 tracks, good length, like 40-something minutes long. I don't like albums that are too long. I like when they just fucking pummel you to death, 30 to 50 minutes. Get it in me. So go and check it out. Dream Widow. And again, that's probably Taylor Hawkins' last album that he's been on. So again, rest in power, Taylor. What a pretty fucking powerful album to go out on. And saying that, I don't know if there's another 11th album of the Foo Fighters going out. I don't know what the go was there. I don't know if they'd made it in conjunction with the Studio 666. I was a bit confused. Anyway, not the first time I'm fucking confused, is it? 2 movies here. One I'm just going to basically criticize and say avoid, and then the other I'm just going to gush over. I won't talk too much about the criticizing one because I don't like to shit on art that much as a fan of art, but this movie just needs a fucking uppercut. It's called Windfall. It was on Netflix, and it has Jason Segel in it of like fucking comedy fame, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, How I Met Your Mother. It's got Jesse Plemons, who I've seen in like a shitload of stuff. I think he's in that new movie Jungle Cruise, but I remember him from Black Mass. I was just watching something with him the other night, and he's one of those guys that like you probably wouldn't recognize that name, but you would recognize his face. He's sort of like a chubby little dude, very like strawberry blonde, but kind of like a bit of like Philip Seymour Hoffman vibe. That's actually what I get from him the way I actually think about it. The look of him in a way, and the acting chops. He's a great actor. I'm gonna have to have a look at like what are some of the other movies he's in. I'm gonna look it up right now. Jesse Plemons, right? Just for you right now, because I'm special like that. And I'm going to tell you, right? The Irishman. That's what I've recently seen him because I watched that fucking 18-hour movie just recently. But he's in that new movie, The Power of the Dog. He's in Game Night. He's in so much sort of stuff here. He's in Judas and the Black Messiah. I talked about that recently. Fuck, he's in a lot of shit. Vice. Fuck, Black Mirror, that TV series. He was in Fargo. He's in a lot of stuff. Black Mass he was really good in. But go and check it out. Apparently he was in Breaking Bad as well. I never really watched that. But go and check it out. But man, I was so like looking forward to this movie. The trailer looked sick. Didn't give too much away. Basically, it was like Jason Segel in what looked like more of a dramatic role, which I love seeing comedians do like dramatic roles. You know what I mean? I think it's really cool. So I was really stoked, and it looked really good. Basically, the premise of this movie was there's like 3 actors in it. Those guys, I can't for the life of me, I forget the woman's name. Unfortunately, I'll go and look it up right now. But they didn't have any names, right? So there's basically like he's the CEO. There's like this woman who's like the girlfriend or whatever, and then Jason Segel who's like he's nobody, right? He's there's the wife, the CEO, nobody, and there's a garden. There's 4 people that star in this movie. Lily Collins, don't know what else she's in, but it had this cool thing. It was this really cool house out in the middle of nowhere in California, right? And Jason Segel sort of cruising around. He's broke in and whatnot. And he's stealing some shit, right? And you're like, okay, someone's done him over because he doesn't look like a proper criminal because he's dressed in normal clothes, just walking around drinking OJ and shit. Anyway, he thinks he's got some time there. Naturally, shit gets fucked up with the CEO and the wife. They rock up there for an unannounced weekend, which he's not expecting. They come in. He's trying to hide. She sees Jason Segel's character. And then it's kind of like, all right, cool. So he's basically just like taking over and going, right, you get down and I'm stealing some shit. But it's just this real messy movie of like, I just thought they didn't tie anything together for me. I'm not going to ruin the end for you because it's such a letdown, hey. but it's like a bit of a shock, but not shocking enough to justify the hour and a half you've wasted to get to that shock. Jesse Plemons was good as the CEO, I thought. He was just like really arrogant and really kind of like one of those guys. But you don't really get his thing. And then Jason Segel, like, again, spoiler alert, you don't really get why he's robbing this place, and you don't really get what his vendetta is against this particular CEO guy. So, yeah, that was fucked because they just never fill that in for you, and you're like, okay, this is shit. So the whole movie, you're just waiting for something to happen. And then by the time something happens, then the credit rolls, you're just like, that's an hour and a half I'll never get back. So Windfall, yeah, awesome trailer, awesome cast, possibly one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But go and check it out. Don't let me fucking turn you off it. The other movie, though, I did see last week when I was sober as a judge. My good friend Milky, Jay Waller, came up and he wasn't drinking. So we're like, what are we going to do? I was like, well, let's go to the movies, mate. Let's go put our feet up in VMAX, in the recliner seats, and let's go watch The Batman. And fuck me dead. Honestly, I like drinking, but that was a sick way to spend a Saturday night. Very wholesome fun between me and one of my best friends. The Batman, for me, was 10 out of 10. I am on the hype train. I loved it. I'm a big fanboy of Batman, I will say. I like all the Batman movies for different reasons. There's not one Batman movie I go, that was shit. I like all of them for different reasons. I even like the kiddie ones, you know, the ones with George Clooney, the ones with Val Kilmer. Love the Tim Burton ones. Love the Christopher Nolan ones, you know what I mean? He sort of took it to another level. I love the Joker movie spin-off. The Batman by Matt Reeves was so fucking good, hey. It was so good. Firstly, it's 3 hours long. I'm going to try and not do spoiler alerts here. But if I do, just be warned, right? I don't think I'll do any spoilers. I'm pretty good at that. I'm going to take a drink because I'm so excited. So, Matt Reeves, don't know what else he's done, but he sounds familiar. But it's a 3 hour long movie, right? You've got Robert Pattinson as the Batman. So funny too when people get cast as Batman. People are just like, oh, he's like an emo and stuff like that. It's just like, mate, he's a great actor. You know what I mean? Like, leave him alone. I can't wait to see him. Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. She's awesome. I've seen her in a few things. I think she's in that show Big Little Lies, but she's appeared in a lot of different stuff along the way. You've got Paul Dano as the Riddler, which was absolutely awesome. This guy, God, he's in a few random movies. You might remember him from Prisoners as the guy that's like the villain that like Hugh Jackman and stuff are like torturing. That's Paul Dano. He's been in some other stuff, but he always plays like a bit of a bent sort of character, and it makes sense that he's playing the Riddler because the Riddler is well and truly bent. And then you've got Colin Farrell as the Penguin, which unreal. The guy's just like unrecognizable. He's ditched the old fucking Irish accent for like a New York sort of accent. He's got all the prosthetics on and stuff. He's balding, so he's gone from this like sexy Irish dude to just this like guy that frankly looks like a penguin with a New York accent. It's great. But yeah, seriously good story. I liked it. I've seen people say, oh, it's awesome, but they could have chopped like 30, 40 minutes out. It didn't lag at all for me. Hey, look, I was like, this is good. Like 3 hours is nice. Especially when you're in the recliner seats, just fucking having a good time, you know. I wasn't drinking or anything like that, so I was like, well, I only fell asleep for about 15 minutes. That was a bit of a record for me. They're so, you know, relaxing that I do tend to fall asleep in the cinemas a lot. But it doesn't matter. I always fall asleep in movies, even though I love watching movies. But yeah, just like really fucking good. The action was over the top in the best way possible. The Batmobile, highly rated it, loved it. I thought everyone's costumes was sick. The Batman was sick. It like they dropped the swear words a couple of times, but I thought, okay, this is going for a bit of an R-rated thing here. And the violence was sort of next level. Like vicious punching, vicious violence. That's all I can say. The Riddler was really quite scary. You know what I mean? I think little kids could get like scared at that. The first sort of scene that he comes into it sort of made me jump a little bit. But yeah, he looks fucking creepy as fuck. He uses tape and all these messages and stuff, obviously, as he does. Riddles, of course. But yeah, the kill scenes were cool, I just thought, and the whole premise of what it sort of led to in the end. And then with the Penguin in there, there's this great sort of car chase scene with him too. But yeah, like it fully leaves it open for a sequel, as you could. Like you're not going to make like a trilogy out of this. Like there's definitely coming to be a sequel. There is a bit, and look, anyone that's on the internet has probably seen it doing the rounds. I have like seen it on every fucking news publication thing. But there's a slight bit where this Joker character comes in, sort of right at the end. No spoiler. But then this week they've released like a 5-minute like sort of deleted scene of it. And you don't sort of see the guy, but it's this Irish actor doing it, Barry Keoghan or something like his name is. But man, look cool. I mean, what I saw there, the Joker looked fucked up. But I would like to see them sort of like, yeah, they could use the Joker, of course. I'm not telling them what to do, but like, they could definitely use so many more villains. There's like so many more villains in the Batman universe. But man, I loved it. I rated Robert Pattinson. Like, I thought he was really fucking good. Again, I like Batman's for a different reason. The Riddler was so badass. Like, Riddler was probably my favorite part of it, eh? Like, and I felt like maybe if I had one thing to say about it, he could have been in it a bit more. But every time he was in it, man, the guy made a fucking mess, eh? It was just awesome to see. But yeah, great actors in it, great scenes. Just a fucking depressing looking city, Gotham. You know what I mean? Just such a depressing looking wet hole. It rained a lot in that movie, I will say. And you know, like Rob Pattinson is quite emo in it. The one thing I'm thinking there is like, this is a movie because no one could not crack a smile. You know what I mean? Even if your parents have been killed and stuff like that, at some point you've got to crack a smile, even just a fake one, right? Fake a smile. So you know it's a movie in that way, but really good. Batman, 10 out of 10, right? I'm not hearing any hate about the Batman from me. Now, to round out tonight's show, the big Oscar debacle that happened today. There was a few things that happened at the Oscars today, and I'm gonna talk about it just ever so briefly, as long as I need to, as brief as I need to, and as long as I need to. You can literally type in the Oscars now. I'm trying to find any other information on the Oscars right now, and it's just all about, drum roll, Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. So this was actually pretty crazy. I didn't know if this was a joke or right. So basically, fuck me dead. It's, oh god, the Oscars. No one really gives a shit about it anymore, frankly, except the people involved, you know. And then something like this happens, and it's like, oh, it's cool again, you know. People are just like, the people making memes and stuff. People use it to promote their own business. It's crazy. I was literally looking at binge just before Beck was shooting around looking for something to watch, and they'd already got the Chris Rock and Will Smith collection. I didn't even know if they're in any movies together. And that was it. But I'm going to break it down, my thoughts on it, because I had some thoughts for both sides, frankly. The more I thought about it, the more I sort of had more opinions of it. But basically, just to set the scene, everybody in the world probably knows this, but Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith's hair, right? She's got a shaved head. She has alopecia. I didn't know she had alopecia. I thought she had a shaved head because she's had a shaved head for some time. And she looks good with a shaved head. Like, I know she's got alopecia and she can't help it, but she just looks good with a shaved head. Like, I think a lot of women look good with shaved heads. I will say that. I've seen quite a lot of chicks in real life and online that, like, I think look pretty hot with a shaved head. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those guys that, like, is stuck in yesteryear just thinking that chicks need to have these long wavy locks. Like, I'm down with a shaved head chick. You know what I mean? Bring it on. I don't care. Just like I'm down with the long hair man. Bring it on. I don't care. But what he said was like something about, I can't even say it, but he basically said Jada can't wait for G.I. Jane 2 because, of course, Demi Moore in G.I. Jane 1, she shaved her head famously for that role, which was huge. Demi Moore, another chick that's hot with a shaved head. She's hot as with long hair too, but I'd take her with a shaved head as well. You know what I mean? So he said that, and then all of a sudden, she looked upset. Will Smith's laughing. Then she's obviously giving him the don't laugh eyes, and he's just taken it to another level. He's got up, walked up to the stage. He's obviously front row, right? He's flexing hard because he's in King Richard. He's walked up. Chris Rock's like, oh, what's going on here? Next thing, he's just fucking bang, slapped him pretty hard. I will say Chris Rock took it like a G. He was just like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, what's going on there? Will Smith goes back down with a little smirk. It's one of those ones where you could see in his face that he was like overcome with rage and you don't know what to do in those moments. You know what I mean? Like, we've all been there. Like, let's be honest. Like, we all think that we could be like angry and this and that, but really what happens like when you get overcome with like anger is like you shake and you want to get emotional, generally speaking, right? So he then goes and sits down and then he starts yelling. He's like, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. So he means it, right? So I thought the slap might have been a joke, but then when he says that and you can see the look on his face, you're like, well, he is an actor and he's there to win an award. Coincidentally, he's won the Best Actor award. If he was acting that night, that was some of the best work I'd ever seen him done. But yeah, and then all hell's just like broken loose. You know, like Chris Rock is just like, Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me. This is awkward. And he sort of stumbled his words a bit, then sort of carried on because he's, you know, professional and stuff like that. So here's my 2 cents of the whole thing. Look, I will say I'm not a big fan of Will Smith. Hate me. I just don't really like his movies. Nothing against him personally as a guy or anything. I don't know the guy from a bar or so, but I don't really rate like any of Will Smith's movies. Like there's maybe Men in Black when I was a kid, Bad Boys 1 maybe, like maybe 2. I've never even seen Bad Boys 2, frankly. I don't think Bad Boys is that great of a movie. There's just something about Will Smith I just never liked. I'm sure we all have those actors, right? I Am Legend, what I'd seen of it is shit. Movies like Gemini Man and stuff, like I'm never going to see that pile of crap. Like they're all shit, you know what I mean? Hitch, who cares? King Richard, I'll probably see King Richard because it looks like a good story. Never saw him as Muhammad Ali. He's just an actor that I just never really care to go out of my way to see. Chris Rock, brilliant actor. Grown Ups 1 and 2, to name a few. Brilliant. But in all seriousness, like comedy-wise, I never thought Chris Rock was that funny. You know what I mean? He's like... there's a few other people that I could think to host the Oscars. Ricky Gervais comes to mind. I would love to know what Ricky Gervais thinks about this whole thing, and hopefully he'll tweet something brilliant soon enough. But Chris Rock, like... I think his jokes are like not that funny, but I get it. You know what I mean? He's from like the 80s, 90s sort of scene. So he says a lot of like your mama's so fat kind of style jokes. Not specifically, but you could fucking see it, right? And then Jada Pinkett Smith, I don't really know what she does, hey, frankly. I know she's like on The View and a few of those other shows. I do know that she used to be in a metal band, I will say that much. But yeah, I don't really know. But apparently after the fact, she's got alopecia. I didn't know that. She's been outspoken about her hair loss since 2018, and then at some point, is it Willow, the daughter, had said, "Come on, mom, you got to just shave your head," you know, in her accent. And then she put an Instagram thing out with a bald head, you know, because I think the daughter's got a bald head too, maybe in support. So yeah, there's a few things. So look, initially I thought, and this, I still stand by this, it's like no one can take a joke anymore, right? I feel like Will Smith has just set the standard there for like, if someone doesn't like what they hear in a joke, right? And you know that like in that sort of environment, right? They're all actors. They're probably super pretentious. They've got all the money in the world. They can do anything they want. They think they're so high and mighty, right? And it's like at this point where it's like they've taken themselves so seriously that they can't even take a joke anymore. I make fun of myself more than I make fun of anybody, right? And I make fun of a lot of things. But I make fun of myself first before making fun of any of those things, right? So I think when these people can't take jokes anymore and they can't make fun of themselves, right? Especially when it's just something as like obvious as maybe like alopecia or something that's an issue. I have rosacea, right? Not that it's on the same level of alopecia, but I'm constantly drawing attention to it and making fun of it, right? Because it's my defense mechanism. So that's a way you could definitely do it, right? I thought, frankly, when Jada Pinkett Smith rolled her eyes at his joke, I thought that was probably a good enough rebuttal. I thought she's, you know, she visibly was like, "Maha, funny, you know, next joke is a fucking bullshit joke." I'm sure they could have waited to go backstage and, you know, say some profanities and whatnot. But yeah, I thought Will Smith basically just opened the door to go and for anyone to go and hit anybody when a pretty basic ass joke is said, right? So I know that people like in this day and age like can't take a joke. I don't think that's a thing, you know, like I think people need to harden up. I will say though, like as I read into it more, alopecia and stuff like that, I know it affects a lot of women. So I feel bad for these women that have to deal with it because I'm sure it can't be good. I read into some like suicide case from years ago, a few years back, where it was like a 12-year-old girl for being bullied. The lady that wrote this article, she had alopecia and she talks about her bullying things. It's disgusting, right? I make jokes all the time and I love comedy and stuff like that, but I would never willingly go up and like mock people in front of people. Like I would never try to punch people down, right, for the sake of, you know, bringing myself up and getting some laughs and stuff like that. In this sort of instance though, you know that like Chris Rock is going to just make fun of every little single thing. Apparently he made fun of Jada Pinkett Smith at the 2016 Oscars, which was a funny sort of joke, right? He basically, because she boycotted it because it wasn't diverse, you then got a black host doing it and he made a joke about it not being invited anyway. Pretty harmless, thought it was funny. I mean, anyone that thinks these jokes are bad, they should really go and check out Ricky Gervais's monologues over the last few years because he takes it to the extreme, right? Last year, or the year before, whatever the fuck it was, basically went out on a fucking tear, right? So, yeah, look, I don't think that Will Smith should have got up and hit him, but he was angry and he was trying to stick up for his wife. So, I mean, I get it in that way, right? Probably you shouldn't have done it in front of the world. I think it's taken away from all the winners and all the good things. Now there were some people that deserve those wins tonight. I know I said earlier that people don't give a shit about the Oscars, fuck. But people work hard, you know, and it takes them a long time. People don't just walk onto an award-winning movie and get best actor or best director or best whatever it is. So I think that it's good that these people get recognized and stuff like that with awards. You know, a lot of people get awards and it probably makes them feel good, you know, beyond the money and the fame and all that bullshit. But yeah, I did think that it was probably fucking over the top. I thought Chris Rock took it like a G and carried on sort of, professionally. I really thought for a second there he was going to fucking back up with another joke, which would have been proper. You know what I mean? Security come and crash tackle them both. Look, I'm not going to make fun of people with alopecia and stuff like that. I know it's a thing. Like, I would say that I have no idea what it's like to have alopecia. I would have no idea what it's like to have anything where, I know I've got the rosacea, that's my thing, but it's hardly like me going fucking bald, right? But it's a thing that people get. But I will say, like, sometimes I think the biggest way you can bring light to a situation or bring better awareness is when you got those stages like that, and bringing awareness to it through jokes and things like that. I think when things are made normal like that, it makes things better. You know what I mean? That's why I sort of bring jokes to myself, and it makes me feel better. And I think it disarms people, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, well, you can't make fun of me anymore because I'm making fun of myself, you know what I mean? So you're unoriginal now. So yeah, that was an interesting sort of thing. There was a lot of stuff thrown around about toxic masculinity and stuff like that. I mean, probably, maybe, I don't know. I don't really buy into a lot of the toxic masculinity thing. I think that's a term that gets thrown around. I was saying to Beck before, I was like, is there any such thing as toxic femininity? Because like, I listened to it was like Amy Schumer, Wanda Sykes, and Regina Hall. They did their intro monologue, and they said a lot of shit as well, you know what I mean? Again, none of that offends me. I think it's great. More power to them. Fucking talk about it, you know what I mean? But there's toxic shit that flies around all the time. That's just human nature. It's just one of those things. But yeah, I just felt like Chris Rock said a joke. I didn't really think the joke was that funny. If anything, I thought it was more to do with the shaved head thing. It was just the fact that she had alopecia, and apparently she's been outspoken about it since 2018, right? So who knows? But since a year ago or so, and I'm just paraphrasing interviews that I read just before my show, right? That she was cool. She was sort of cool with it and very open with it now, right? I suppose she doesn't like to have it. The look on her face looks like she couldn't take a joke, right? So it's evident that she can't take a joke, but it's something near and dear to her heart. I feel bad for people that have alopecia and stuff like that, and I'm sure it's not an easy thing to deal with, right? But they can definitely go on with it, right? I didn't really get the whole toxic masculinity take on it. I've read into a lot of things about this, but yeah, Will Smith definitely opened the door for people that can't take jokes. It was evident like that. I reckon that Will Smith, like, I don't know the guy from Parasite, but he looked pretty fucking unstable at that. He was like crying in his best. The guy won Best Actor for Christ's sake. He was crying in his Best Actor speech, apologizing for this, that, and everyone except Chris Rock. Not that he has to. One of those things. So yeah, it was crazy. I did read a thing after, I will say, and this will probably fucking ruffle a few feathers, but to do with that toxic masculinity, a lot of these, it was clearly written by women, I think, but they had said like men don't need to fight like that for their women, you know what I mean? But it's just, sometimes I think that's just how it is. That's just like raw emotion and stuff like that. I think it's hard to say that someone shouldn't do that, when they're feeling emotional. Like people on any level should have like the I don't know, the responsibility, the maturity, whatever it is, to control that raw emotion and know how to handle it. I just think in the moment and things like that, some people don't know, you know what I mean? And Will Smith tonight, I can't blame him for hitting someone like that, you know what I mean? If someone said maybe something about Beck that I didn't agree with, I don't know what my thing would be. We make fun of each other all the time, so I'm sure they'd have to push it really, really fucking hard, you know what I mean? Words, I think, yes, they can be weapons to some people, but you can disarm those weapons pretty quickly, I never really get too offended by words. Physically, though, when someone came at Beck or something like that, that's a whole different story, right? But yeah, interesting. I don't know what's going to happen here, you know what I mean? I don't think they're going to press charges or anything. That's like fucking bullshit. That'd be a bit lame. But yeah, fucking news travel fast, and it's a shame that like something like this has overshadowed probably the winners that deserved it, you know what I mean? I think for the first time in history, a deaf actor won an award. He was in that movie Coda. Haven't seen it yet, but I want to check it out. So I thought that was, kind of overshadowed it, unfortunately. So that's on Will. But then they could say that's on Chris for the joke, right? You know what I mean? But, then it could come back and say that's on Jada, right? For her bit too. So it's all crazy, but I don't know. One of those things. I think maybe people need to lighten up, take jokes better, and maybe the Oscars need to stop fucking getting comedians to be the hosts of these things. They just need to get some straight-laced motherfucker to just introduce people, and that'll be it. But interesting, right? I think there's pros and cons on both sides. I I thought it was more of a shock, more of a sort of a funny thing. But yeah, a lot of people are just like, oh, violence is never the answer, and this is crazy, and the words, and blah 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 blah. It's like, fuck me dead, you know what I mean? The guy said some shit. He might have reacted crazily, and someone took a fucking slap in the face for it, right? You know what I mean? It could have been a lot worse, right? But both those people will ride off to their mansions, sit on their piles of money, count it, wake up tomorrow and go, what are we going to do today? You know what I mean? We can do whatever we want. We can deal with our mental health today, right? On our piles of money in our mansions. So, and that's not making fun with anyone fucking mental health issues, because we've all been there, right? And we're all fucking continuing to be there, and we all fight it on a day-to-day. Just some people might have a better situation to fight it in. That's what I'm getting at. But anyway, I'm ranting, I'm raving, I'm rambling. That's enough. You know what I mean? Oscars, go and check it out. King of the Couch, episode 134, in your ear holes. Really appreciate it. As I said at the start of the episode, if you're not subscribing, please subscribe. If you like what you've heard, let me know, or pay it forward. That would mean a fucking huge lot to me. Anyway, I'm the King of the Couch. You've been a great audience. Have a beautiful week, and I love you all. What you're going through, there's always some